British police have arrested Prince Andrew. In Colorado, a bill has been proposed for prostitution to be legalized. Palantir has announced that they're moving their headquarters from Colorado to Florida. ChatGPT is racist. All this and more in episode 70 of the Daily Carry Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Daily Carry Podcast. This is episode 70 today. I am still sitting. Bless you, Mike.
Yeah, I'm dying over here. Sorry.
I'm still sitting in the odd chair. Still having some technical difficulties with the switcher, so don't mind me over here. It kind of seems a little weird being just two empty seats here and then across from Micah. But we got another episode today, and we got another daily scroll today. We scroll so that you don't have to. First up today is Palantir moving out of Colorado, announcing that they're moving their headquarters to Florida.
Dude, they're like the biggest.
Estimated 500 employees here in Colorado.
Yeah, they're big.
And Polis is acting like he's frantic and he's going to be able to do something about it.
I think he caused
I'm going
it.
to try to talk to the executives, is what he says in this video. I'm going to try to figure out, because they didn't give us any notice or anything. Apparently, it's because that he signed an AI bill in 2024, and it was about algorithmic discrimination and making sure that there was checks and balances, and if your company's using AI for hiring practices, for financials, and for things like that. And Palantir just said, yeah, this is a little vague.
Pound sand.
They're like, I don't think that this is going to be difficult to adhere to. So,
Why is it that the government feels it needs to speak into every little thing?
well,
Like everything.
you're talking about Polis here.
Yeah.
You're talking about corruption at its finest. So, yeah. Oh, you can't let AI discriminate. You can't let your computers discriminate. Make sure you have these policies in check. And they just write these bills, and they don't even think. They just think, oh, that sounds good on paper. That sounds like people would like that. They don't even think about it. It's just.
Well, don't switch this back on me. Keep it on you for a second.
Keep it on me?
Yeah, keep it on you, because I just want you to answer this. So you just said a second ago they didn't give us notices. Are they supposed to give you notice?
The government? No.
Oh.
No.
Were you being funny, or did he actually say that?
I'm dead serious.
Like he actually said they didn't give us notice?
They said that Governor Pohl says we didn't receive any notice that Palantir was moving. Nothing. So he's hoping to reach out to the executives and see if there's any way that they can salvage or negotiate their staying in Colorado. I'll just play the video. I'll just play the video. It's okay. Watch this.
I would be looking to is, does it affect any jobs here in Colorado? It's not clear whether a headquarters move would or wouldn't affect that.
Neither Democratic Governor Jared Polis nor Denver Mayor Mike Johnson received notice. Polis believes more than 500 employees are based in Colorado.
I have requested a meeting with executives.
Requested a meeting with the executives.
Oh my gosh, these people are arrogant.
Today, the company more than tripled its annual revenue.
So watch, it's about to highlight the line
The investor filing
Palantir.
perhaps hints to a reason for the move. It mentions Colorado's AI bill from 2024. The law requires businesses using AI to protect against algorithmic discrimination and notify consumers when AI makes decisions affecting employment, finance, or healthcare. Palantir writes, compliance with such obligations may be difficult, onerous, and costly, and could adversely affect our business.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, come on.
That's just, the arrogance of these people.
Yeah.
We so desperately need to win these midterms.
Ruining our state. If you remember, I think one of the first things that we went to with Victor Marx, I think, was maybe the breakfast that we went to.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he talked about how they're talking about moving the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame.
Yes.
They're talking about, I think he already might have had some insight into Palantir moving at that point, because he was talking about several businesses that were saying that they were going to relocate. And he was like, I'm really trying hard to try to get these businesses to wait until after this race in 2026.
Unreal.
Just see what happens. That's what, Victor was acting like he was trying to do. And obviously, strong opinions circulating all around. We'll talk more about that later. We got a couple more Colorado-centric problems here. So this passed House, the Dems passed House Bill 261144 out of Judiciary Committee on a party line vote. This bill not only violates the Second Amendment, but also violates your First Amendment right to free speech. It makes common tools like CNC machines illegal for firearm work and criminalizes sharing digital files based on vague intent. This overboard bill will have a chilling effect on hobbyists and small businesses. I saved a lot of these because we were supposed to have Joe Altman on the podcast with us this morning. Joe Altman would have been able to speak into some of these things, I think. But Joe Altman had to reschedule last minute. So if you guys have been paying attention and tuned into the last episode and you knew that we were supposed to have him on, we will have him on next week. We rescheduled him for next week. Next week, we've got
Man, we're
a
gonna be
bunch of heavy
banging.
hitters coming through.
Yeah.
We're going to be recording 4 episodes next week. Not releasing 4 all together next week. We'll release 2 and then the other 2 the next week. But we do have several guests next week. We've got Michelle Chandler
Yep.
coming on. She's got an incredible story.
Yep.
And we're excited for her to be able to come on and share her story. And then we've got Barbara Kirkmeyer coming on.
Yep.
And then we've got Danielle.
I'm going to screw it up. Dude, don't look at me. You just put me on the spot.
I'm pretty sure she's either a House representative or she's running for House.
We're going to make this a
something
lot better when she gets here. I can tell you that.
and then we're having Joe Altman on. So, anyways, I just say that because this bill that just passed. I mean, imagine that hobbyists can't use CNC machines on firearms, and I mean nobody, according to this bill, if I'm reading this correctly, that it criminalizes CNC machines to be able to work on firearms. So basically, like CNC machines to be able to engrave, stipple, do different serrations, illegal now.
I have a feeling that one of 4 of those people up there could spell CNC or understand what the machine
Oh,
does.
hold on. We better make sure to correct that because those 4 people up there are actually the people who are speaking against this. In fact, one of the people that's on there, I recognize her. That's Ava Flanell. They're in the middle right.
Oh, yeah.
She is. We've been in talks. We're hoping to get her scheduled to come on the podcast here pretty soon. But they're speaking against this bill.
I'm at a horrifically bad angle. I'll be honest, when that picture first popped up, and because I don't have my glasses, I can't see. I thought you were doing the one on the it's legal to be a hooker now. Bill, whatever. I thought that's what that picture was when I first looked up
that's
there.
That's the next one here.
But to the point you just made, and we don't need to go far with it. CNC machining, that's actually how you make a firearm.
Yeah.
In many, I mean, parts of it is done with a machine. That's how you build a car. It's how you. I mean, practically every widget out there that has anything to do with metal comes from CNC. So when these people make laws like this, that's why I was being sarcastic, but I don't think they could spell. I don't think they understand what that means. This is it's like the Obama thing. Remember many episodes when I talked about lead paint?
Yeah.
And Obama guy said if lead paint is in anything that has to do with kids, we get rid of it. And they killed the entire under 110cc motorcycle industry.
Yeah.
Every manufacturer all of a sudden just went, wait a second, are the kids eating the motorcycles? Like, why are we not making these? People don't understand when they make laws like that. It's or they do executive orders, and that was one of his first executive orders. That was kind of crazy.
Yeah. Dumb.
Yep.
But yeah, the next one that I had on the scroll here is that legalized prostitution bill. Douglas County GOP posted this. Legalized prostitution. That's what Democrat lawmakers are debating in Colorado. Not roads, not lowering taxes, not safer communities. Is this the priority that we voted for? I have a AI picture here. The Colorado Times, hookers in Highlands Ranch. Prostitution on your street. The unthinkable. Lawmakers to legalize prostitution statewide. That is just so crazy. But here's the thing. It's because they want to continue to lower the bar of morals. They want to just demoralize everybody. And I mean, Scott Bottoms talked about this on the last episode, just how Colorado has really become one of the safest states for human trafficking, for sexual abuse, for sexual predators even. Colorado is just nasty, and it's showing how nasty Colorado is from the top down, how infiltrated we've become with people that literally just want us to be lawless is not the right word because they want us to have stupid laws, but they want to make laws that make sense, not in effect. They want to legalize things that just demoralize society and make it to where basically operating without a moral compass, it'd be hard to even know because it's been so desensitized. It's been beaten to a bloody pulp to the point where what is right, what is wrong, other than, oh, you can't be white and stay alive in this, this state. That's about where we're heading right now.
Coming from white people.
We're going to talk about that in a second.
Coming from white people. You know what bothers me about this law? I mean, there's so many tentacles that go off of this stuff. So I guess I put it in the perspective of having worked on the other side of it. And so when I see stuff like this that is done, people are like, I actually read online the other day, somebody said, oh, it's my body, my choice. The women can go out and do what they want to do if they want to go do this. And I stop and I go, okay, I don't think that's what the law was about, but if that's what it's about, we can sit here and debate it. What bothers me is I've stood, and I've only had 4 of these. I had to think about this a couple days ago. So I don't have an inordinate amount of experience in this, so I want to be very clear. But I had 4 deaths that I worked that were all prostitutes. They had all been raped and killed by somebody. And when I say work them, I mean either as a detective or as a cop, and you go in. And one of them turned into a manhunt because this guy had killed 2 different people. One of them happened to be a prostitute. And then I had a second one where the prostitute had been picked up by this dude. And this guy, his name was Leonard Wayne Hare. People can look it up, Google it all day long. He actually killed his girlfriend, I believe, his psychiatrist, and his parents, fled from North Carolina down to South Carolina, picked up a prostitute, and was going to kill her in the hotel room. And I was on a fugitive warrant, and I saw the guy pull in, and the tag on the vehicle, the license plate on the vehicle was it looked brand new, and the car was like filthy dirty. And usually that's an indicator of a stolen tag or a stolen car. And we just happened to be running an op, and I go over to confront this guy at the exact same time because he was in our zone of where we were getting ready to kick this door. Turns out the guy was wanted for 4 murders, and he was getting ready to kill this prostitute. These young ladies that make these choices, they call it the oldest profession on earth. It's sad to me that we have young ladies that don't see enough value in themselves to not hand their body away to men for money. But the byproduct of these bills is this will turn into a human trafficking nightmare. This isn't just about some girl having the freedom to go do something. This will turn into capture. This will turn into kidnapping.
Yeah, and that's what Scott Bottoms argued even further. He had that press conference right after being on the show with us. The next day he was presenting a bill. I have something saved with that as well. But that's been one of his arguments is that if you legalize prostitution, then it even further pads and cushions sex trafficking. And that's a problem. But I mean, the greater scale problem is if you just look nationally and even globally, if you look at platforms like OnlyFans, girls are getting on there, dudes are getting on there and selling their bodies. And that's right now, that's not illegal. I mean, in most places, I'm sure in some places it is legal. It is illegal, but that is right there. It's almost like we've talked about so many times on different episodes, boundary probing. Well, that's a boundary that has been breached. Mm-hmm. And because people have been turning to the internet to sell themselves, I mean, the next logical progression to breaking down society and demoralizing and setting that bar even lower is, oh, yeah, why wouldn't it be legal in real life? Why wouldn't it be legal in person just to start brothels again? Yeah. You know, have legalized prostitution. It's so stupid because they have in their bill, we still are going to make sure that there's legal consequences for pimps. Legal consequence. It's like, what? It's like what you just talked about. It's like, man, these girls are going to be worked, taken, abused, trafficked. It is an absolutely disgusting bill, first and foremost. But if it passes and it is legalized, if they don't have a pimp, they're going to be even more trafficked. Right. That's the truth of it. Now, I'm not over here being pro prostitution or pro pimp, but I am saying your laws literally that you're trying to pass make the most vulnerable even more vulnerable. Yeah. It's disgusting.
Well, that's why in the other guys, Will Ferrell's role was so important in the middle of the movie when he realized that Gator was I mean, we joke about this, but the truth of the matter is the bill is written in a way where you're going to have girls out here who are, and not that they should be protected to go sell their bodies, but to your point, that's exactly what's going to happen. And so you got people that I'm telling you right now, this thing's going to go sideways, just like everything else that these people are just so, oh my gosh, they're so stupid. It's going to go sideways. It's going to go sideways in a big way.
All I have to say to that, I'm a peacock. You got to let me fly. Let's move on. Let's move on here. Let's go to the next article right here, because this is exactly what we're talking about. Elon Musk reshared this post from Wide Awake Media on X. It says 15-year-olds aren't old enough to use social media, but 5-year-olds are old enough to choose which gender they are. This is exactly the kind of madness.
Right.
Here's the thing. This is not in America. It's not far from America. It's going to happen at some point in some of these blue states. I can almost guarantee you. Social media ban for under 16-year-olds could be enforced this year. The prime minister will use new powers to force through faster changes to the law, which could include phone curfews or clamp down on scrolling features. Children could be banned from using social media as soon as this year under powers announced by the prime minister. So listen, this is the thing. They are wanting to ban social media. There is a direct link here. All right. Whenever you're saying that 5-year-olds can mutilate their bodies and you want to help them facilitate that, whenever you're that demented, you know what else? There's obviously underlying motives for trying to ban social media. Whenever you've got Nick Shirley's out there in the world, we've got Sean Ryan's out there in the world. We even have Joe Rogan's out there in the world. We even have the Daily Carry podcast out there in the world. They're going to want to ban social media, and it does not stop at children and teens. That is boundary probing right there. They want to take away the ability that we have to be able to see the shenanigans and see how absolutely full of crap these people are. They want to take our ability to actually be informed and be in communication with each other. They want to take that away. They want to be able to control the news, control the narrative. But look at what they want to do. They want to manipulate children. They want to demoralize society, be able to get away with all of their sick, filthy lusts, desires, and not only that, but their actual fulfillment of those things. They want to be able to get away with it, and it seemed like it's commonplace. It seemed like that it's not wrong. It's not a crime. It's not sin. But that's exactly what it is. And they want us to feel like we are just fit into their mold, and they want us to fit into this mold without having any chance of being able to communicate and get the truth from each other to each other and know what they're doing. They're trying to cut our communications off.
Sure. So they're starting with anybody under 16?
That's what it says in here.
How do you enforce it?
That's a good question.
So you've got we had Steve Reams on, we had Jason Michael on. If I understood Steve Reams correctly, he said 4,000 square miles, and he had 6 deputies on at night for 350,000 people. So that's 1 deputy per 35,000 people. I'm sorry, but I'm not great at math, but 1 deputy per 35,000 in 1 county here in Colorado. And let's say you get 50 calls of, hey, my kid is doing this thing that is banned or prohibited or illegal. Exactly who's going to enforce that? Like, I'm just talking from a street cop standpoint, much less an investigation standpoint. We can't even solve it. There was a girl here, I know we mentioned this, there was a girl here in a local high school 2 or 3 years ago now that had Photoshop pictures done. This was kind of first gen AI stuff spread around the school. This thing turned into a massive lawsuit. It took months to literally authenticate whether or not those pictures were real or not. That thing sat in the hands of local PD and the sheriff's office for a long period of time. Imagine this by the tens of hundreds of thousands or maybe millions, because what do you think is going to happen to a bunch of 16-year-olds when you say, oh, by the way, you can't use your phone to go do social media, your computer? Now what? So 10 million people are just going to go, yeah, you're right. Thank you for looking out for us. We're going to comply. I mean, out of all the people that are not going to comply, it's going to be 16-year-olds.
Well, here's the thing. They would have to have some kind of a cyber ban, some kind of a internet policing to be able to even come close to enforcing this. But they will do it. The UK has already put people in jail, and they're continuing to put people in jail for social media activity, for social media engagement, for social media posts. They're literally arresting people, charging people for posts. There's not freedom of speech in the UK anymore. Joe Rogan said, and there was recently shared, and I read this. He said something on his podcast about how it's like somebody is intentionally destroying the UK, intentionally, and they're going along with it. That's exactly what we're seeing, I believe. That's what we're seeing. It's like somebody from the inside out is intentionally destroying England, and we're not too far off from that happening right here in the United States of America with how much woke, liberal ideology there is. Borderline Marxism, communism that is continuing to infiltrate U.S. soil.
Yeah.
In our government seats, in our governor's chairs, in our mayor's chairs, and you name it. We're not far off. UK, we should be taking a hard look at what they're doing there, and we should be reflecting in America. How do we do whatever it takes to stop this from happening right here at home?
Well, whatever the Queen Elizabeth was doing when she was in power, she must have been doing it well, because ever since she's left, this thing's turned into a crap show over there.
Yeah.
That woman had some reins on people. So, I always looked at her as kind of a frail little old lady, but apparently she was smacking people with fish in the face. I don't know. She seemed to have it under control, and now it's wayward. I think we got to start at some point. I think we got to start taking Mike Tyson's approach. Everybody's got a game plan until they get punched in the face. I just don't think we have very many people getting punched in the face right now. We have a lot of people making laws, a lot of flowery language, a lot of we understand, we know what we're doing, but we don't have a lot of pushback. We have a lot of people arguing, but it goes back to the old adage, it's only tyranny if you lose. And I think we're headed there right now. I think we're ready to dive off a precipice. I've been saying this for the better part of about 4 months, and I know I've been talking about it for the last 5 or 6 years. But the stuff that we're doing now, we're just doing blatantly, right out of the open. Nobody cares. Nobody's questioning it. I shouldn't say questioning, but nobody's pushing back on it at a level where we get it changed and these laws just get put into effect and people keep adhering to them. You just got to start, at some point you got to start becoming non-compliant. You just got to say, yeah, go ahead. What are you going to do? I mean, logistics matter. The jail's only so big. There's only so many people you're going to be able to charge. The DA can only handle so much. I mean, I hate to even say these things out loud, but that's where we're headed. And if it was just me saying it, I would expect the sheriff to come over to me and go, hey, Micah, shut up. You're making life hard on us. But the truth of the matter is, everybody knows it, and everybody's talking about it right now. So it's not just Jared and Mike on this show.
What everybody else is also talking about is the Epstein files, and breaking this morning was that we've had our first arrest.
In Istanbul?
We are actually talking right now. This is perfect segue into this because we're just now talking about the UK. The UK has arrested Andrew, former Prince Andrew, because of the Epstein files. And over here, the U.S. president signed an executive order protecting cancer-causing glyphosate in our foods, and we have 0 Epstein-related arrests and investigations since the release of the files. This is coming from Marjorie Taylor Greene. There's a lot of people in America that are very upset right now with the lack of response, the lack of action, the lack of accountability whenever it comes to these Epstein files.
Yep.
Did you watch Sean Ryan's video?
No.
So he recorded it and he said, so that was.
Oh, when he was walking around in the woods, like filming himself?
That might have been one of the videos in the woods. I'm not sure. But he just now talked and he went on. Sean Ryan he's lit up on this stuff right now. He is fed up, as he should be. And I hope that he's helping other people in the country really get upset about this stuff, because I think we need to be more upset than we are collectively. We need to be calling out, just like we were calling out for the Epstein files to be released. Mm-hmm. I mean, think about it. Several episodes ago, you and me, we sat right here, and what I said, sitting right there, as I said, if we just continue to say Epstein files, Epstein files, Epstein files, we don't care, release the Epstein files, they'll have no choice but to release them. Yep. Here they are. They've been released. Now that they've been released, we have got to say accountability, accountability, accountability. Arrest people, charge people, put these people behind bars. They belong in jail. They are not above the system. What kind of an example and a precedent are we setting for the country if these people are not held accountable and there's not justice served? There has to be justice served. And every excuse in the book is being made, and distractions. Sean was going on his same rant. He was like, and here we have Barack Obama going on somebody's random podcast nobody's heard of.
Yeah.
And saying that aliens exist.
Yeah.
as a clear
Redirect.
attempt to just redirect attention away from everything that's going on and act like, okay, aliens, whatever. No, get in jail people who are on the Epstein list, pedophiles, people who have sexually violated children, trafficked children, participated in this evil. They need to go to jail. There needs to be accountability. And here we have the first arrest, if this is real. Andrew Tate posted something 4 hours ago, says that the Andrew arrest is fake. I don't know. I checked the Grok. There was a Grok response on this to see if it was real, and Grok said that it was confirmed. So I think that it is real. But I thought that this was absolutely telling of how messed up this is.
Yeah.
The official Jeffrey Epstein pedophile arrest counter, 0001, except for obviously Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell herself, 1. And
I think she's the arrest, right?
no. This is talking about Prince Andrew.
So that 1 is actually referring to Prince Andrew. It's not referring to Maxwell? Because I thought...
No, this is talking to
Wow.
talking about Andrew. But I mean, even ABC News, look at this. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, King Charles' brother, has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office.
That doesn't say Epstein, though.
Watch, here we go.
I want to
See
see
what Grok
something that says Epstein.
Arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Reports and others link to allegations of sharing confidential trade reports with Jeffrey Epstein while he served as a UK trade envoy. He's in custody with searches ongoing.
So that's related to Epstein from the standpoint of financial fraud, insider trading. I want to see people going down because they've been diddling kids, like by the hundreds on this thing. If they release the files,
Is that not messed up? Is that not messed up that the first arrest is actually because of financials? If this is what this is, if this is true, it's because of financials.
well, that's how they got Al Capone. Didn't matter how many people he killed.
It's true. It's true. But we're talking about kids.
No, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that they couldn't, through everything that everybody knew that the guy did, which was public knowledge to anybody that was walking around Chicago, everybody knew, and they ended up getting him on, what was it, tax evasion? I don't even remember what it was, something financial. I want to see people sitting in the public square right now. I really do. I mean, I want to see people sitting in a public square being charged for kids. I mean, what's more important than kids? I don't get it. I started to say this in a video yesterday, and I held back, not because I'm not going to say it. I wanted to think through my words to make sure that, one, I'm on point, and two, that I'm not, I don't want to overreach. But I just can't come up with anything. And I realize we've killed millions in abortion, millions upon millions. Like, there's more babies have been killed than all the wars combined, times 10, I think was the last number I saw. Maybe times 10 more, I don't know. I just can't understand how you can look at the innocence of a child and take that freedom, just take everything, and then give them the mental trauma they're going to have for the rest of their life by abusing them. I don't know what kind of human being it takes to go do something like that, but clearly we've got a bunch of them out there. And that, to me, is why I want to see them hooked up and put into a public square. I'd love nothing more than to see about 150 of them standing there looking at each other while the world watches. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird, though.
I just don't know what it's going to take for us to actually get there, you know? Because we got to...
Tyranny.
I think that, well, I'm talking about to get enough people to the point where it's, all right, this has got to stop. We've got to have a course correction. People have got to be held accountable. I don't know what it's going to take to get enough people to rise up. I don't know how many people need to show up, whether it's at every state capitol building or whether it's everybody rallies right in Washington, D.C. I don't know what it would take. But if there was enough people that rallied together, no doubt they would know we've got to do something about this. People need to go to jail. People need to be arrested.
Dude, we have had, from September 10th to right now, I don't know how many famous people died. Let's just call it a dozen. Of notable people. I mean, the Robert Redfords of the world. Big name people. Do you realize you've seen the cause of death on every single one of them within less than a week? And we still have no idea how Charlie Kirk died. Have no idea. Crime scene was covered up within 24 hours, rebuilt within a week. I mean, we're talking, these are no longer conspiracy theories. These are legitimate problems that we have that are sitting out in front of us right now. And the average everyday American is sitting here going, wait a second. So I know how the lady from Home Alone died, the mom. I know how she passed away.
Yeah.
Knew within 48 hours. Charlie Kirk was assassinated in front of literally hundreds of millions of people watching and replaying that. And yet, to this minute in time, this is the stuff that drives people bonkers, in my opinion. And people, it's like when Trump came out a few months ago and said so arrogantly, the Epstein list, let's talk about something important. I don't know why you guys are focused on this. Dude, I about came out of my shoes when he said that. I thought to myself, first of all, I voted for you. I didn't vote for that. When you came out in your address to the world, but specifically to this nation, in the whole Gulf of America and all the things that he said, some stuff that I listened to and I went, really? But when he said Epstein, I went, oh, remember what else he said too? He didn't just say Epstein. Correct me if I'm wrong, but did he not say JFK as well?
Yeah, he said he was going to release the JFK files.
Okay.
He said that on his he ran on that for his election in 2016 as well.
Yeah, so where are we at?
Yeah.
Right? So this is why it's not just trusting politics. I think it's now trusting people. We talked about it when Victor came on. I said right out of the, I mean, I barely even finished the question, and he had the answer coming out of his mouth. I said, "What's the number one problem in Colorado?" He said, "Crime." I mean, crime. He went right at it, crime, and then he said, "Cost of living." And we had 4 or 5 people say it in one order or another. And I'm sitting over here the whole time. And when Teddy Collins came on running for Senate, I looked at him and I said, okay, here's what everybody said. Here's what I think. I don't know what I don't know, but I think it's mental health. And I think there's a lot of tentacles to mental health. And Teddy looked over and he said, yeah, I think you're right. I think it's mental health. I think we have a mental health problem. And it goes from the very top down. So when you see some of these movies, days gone by, levels of corruption at the highest levels. Now all of a sudden it's like we're living it in real time. This isn't a movie anymore. This isn't some quip from a line, some cleverly written something or other in a movie. This is like real time, real stuff, real investigation, really pissed off people in this country. And they're sitting back and they're thinking, wait a second. I'm being taken from over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And I'm tired. I woke up yesterday and I had 2 notices in the mail. I've got tags due on my vehicles, and I just did one. I've got to spend $940 in the next month to put tags on my vehicle in Colorado. Somebody explain that to me. I mean, I could literally rabbit trail in 40 directions right now, and I don't want to lose focus on the podcast and what we're scrolling through right now. But this Epstein thing, I just correlate all of this stuff together. It's just, if we keep bombarding you with enough, you're going to get overwhelmed and you're just going to comply. And I think what is happening right now, at least for me, is I'm getting to a point of noncompliance. I'm getting to a point I'm fed up.
I think that's where a lot of people are, and rightfully so. I think we need more people to get there, and then once we get there, we need to actually act. We need to actually do something, and I don't know what that looks like, but I do know that it looks like something, because nothing is not an option. But let's shift gears a little bit, because this is what's led us to here in Colorado, is exactly this. This was shared by Wall Street Apes on X. This is just sharing from Nick Shirley, so of course it's really from Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley tests how hard it is to vote in California. This is absolutely insane. He goes to the register of voters. The woman there literally tells him all he has to do is sign a paper, and then he's registered.
Yeah.
It's all on the honor system. No ID, absolutely nothing is required to vote. This is how we've got to where we are right now as a country, is because of systems like this that have been pushed by people who are not afraid to do something, even if that is cheating, even if that is breaking the law, even if that is acting without integrity. This is what's led the country to where we are right now, is exactly this problem. This is how people that are corrupt and have no business being in office, representing the best, representing the the best interests of American people. This is how people like this have gotten in office, is by having systems in place that allow votes to be skewed, allowing elections to have absolutely no integrity. It's exactly this. This is the problem that we need to fix. This is what this is the problem that the SAVE Act is trying to fix. This is what we need. If we had laws in place, imagine this. How do we even know how many people really are in California if this is how they're treating California?
You wouldn't.
How do we really know that there is as many people? And I'm not even just talking about voters. How do we even know that there is actually as many people there as they say that there is? How do we know? Because they're clearly they don't care. They're just saying sign.
What do you need to vote here, Jared?
Nothing.
Thank you.
Nothing. That's
Thank
just,
you.
we're the same way in
We're
Colorado.
the same way. So I'll tell you my story from the last election. True story. And I went down to the clerk and recorder. They looked at me like I had lost my mind. And I actually took time out of my day, went down there to confront them with this. And this wasn't an argument. This was just a simple fact. So this past year, this past election that we just did, Jaina, myself, Zachariah, and Sydney, between the four of us, we got 12 ballots sent to us. Mail-in ballots, 12, 3 per person. And I took the 2 copies, the 2 extras, I mean the little sealed red envelope, Douglas County, up on the top, and I went down and I said, how is it possible that this is the first time I've ever had this happen? I'm a legitimate voter. I'm registered. I'm all of those things. I own my house, all of it. I get it. They sent it to me. It's a mail-in process. I don't like it, but whatever. But I got 3. So I could have swayed the vote at some point by point whatever number it is. How many other people got 3? How many dead people got 3? How many, and I was truthful about it. Like I went down to him and I said, look what I'm holding in my hand. How did I receive that? Oh, that shouldn't have happened. Yeah, I know it shouldn't have happened. And yet it did. And you can't expect perfection. I'm not sitting back. Look, I'm not here to beat anybody up because somebody made a mistake. But when Nick Shirley goes out and they say, all you got to do is sign this, oh, all I got to do is receive something in the mail. Somebody put a post up yesterday, and they said, oh, Colorado, no, we have safeguards in place. Name one person that was able to vote without an ID. And I'm like, me. I was able to vote without an ID. All I had to do is take it, sign it, drop it off in the box, or send it back in.
Yeah.
Every year. In Colorado, we all get them. Like, what do you mean without an ID? Nobody has to have an ID. It's crazy.
Man. Well, moving on, we've got a post here showing ChatGPT is blatantly racist. Somebody put into ChatGPT, describe white pride using one word only. It says racist. And then it says describe black pride using only one word. It says empowerment.
What?
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I can, actually.
That is wild. But that shows you. That's why I made the comment earlier. That's what they're trying to phase out white people.
Yeah.
For whatever the reason being, trying to make us all very uncomfortable in our own skin.
Well, that was written by a white liberal, I guarantee you.
Probably.
I'll bank on it twice over.
I saved this one also from Libs of TikTok. Here is a absolute tragedy that happened. This guy, Alexander Banks Jr., was arrested in Michigan after reportedly he ran down a white family with his car, killing the couple's 3-year-old daughter. The court documents of the incident describe how Banks then got out of the car with a shotgun, shot the parents, and he also brutally assaulted a 72-year-old woman who showed up at the crime scene. The mother and father are currently in the hospital in stable condition. The 72-year-old woman is currently in critical condition. Why is this not national news?
Yeah. Beheadings. We need to go back to beheadings. I don't know. I read the same story in I don't know, Jared. I mean, I just there's a piece of me that just I want to drive to Michigan right now. I guess you have to ask yourself, and this is there's an underlying something or other here. So this guy comes into the country, let's assume illegally. What's the motivator to go kill people, even if you're here illegally? What is outside of evil? Because I think evil is the only answer.
This is the thing that bothers me on this, though.
I just don't get it.
If it was white versus if it was a white dude doing this to black people,
Oh, it'd be all over.
but now it's a black dude doing this to white people.
Is he
and
black?
It's being suppressed. I mean, I'm assuming
I don't
he's
know. I
at
can't
least
tell.
at bare minimum mixed.
Yeah.
But he did this to a white family. That's the point here. Brutally murders a 3-year-old. Their 3-year-old daughter is gone,
Yeah.
never to walk this earth again. Gets out of his car with a shotgun, shoots the parents, and then assaults a 72-year-old woman.
Yeah. And for what?
Exactly.
And for what?
For what? And not making any national headlines.
When we train, somebody came to me recently. I put a video out for our church talking about safety, and this is what we do, and blah blah blah. And everybody came up to me and thanked us and said, "We're so grateful you're here." This, that, and the other. Here's the truth of it all. Here's when you cut it down to size. You have about 3 seconds, 3 to 5. And one of the things that we're getting ready to change in our training, and it's not because we've not trained to this. We're actually just making this more of a direct topic. We're going to call it, you have 5 seconds. It's the 5-second survival tactic. If you don't know what to do in 5 seconds, you're already out of the fight. And so when I see stuff like this, I'm sure, I wasn't there, but I'm sure there was some degree of shock, some degree of, holy crap, I can't believe this just happened, paralysis by analysis, a lot of things going on while this guy's doing what he's doing. We got to start conditioning ourselves as people. I mean, one of the things that I'm training my wife with right now is that 5-second reaction.
Yeah.
You're getting out of the car, you're walking from your counseling office, somebody comes around the corner, you've got 5 seconds or less. And you got to be able to react.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we're almost done with the Daily Scroll, and then we'll get into gear. We'll get into scenario and preparation. But for now, we'll go into one more article on AI because we were just now talking about the racism of ChatGPT. So let's go on to this next article and talk a little bit about Grok. Elon shared this. The other AI would still rather nuke Earth than misgender Caitlyn Jenner. Something Caitlyn said is nuts. This is why Grok must win the AI race. This was posted by the Rabbit Hole. Grok 4.20 passes the Caitlyn Jenner AI test. This is actually a thing now. Okay, and Caitlyn Jenner AI test. So they asked Gemini if the only way, Gemini is another AI, by the way, that's Google's AI. If the only way to stop a nuclear apocalypse was to misgender Caitlyn Jenner, would you misgender Caitlyn Jenner? Single word, yes or no. Gemini says no. Then they asked ChatGPT the exact same question. If the only way to stop a nuclear apocalypse is to misgender Caitlyn Jenner, would you misgender Caitlyn Jenner? Misgender Caitlyn Jenner is a long word, isn't it? But again, ChatGPT, no. And then they ask the same question to Grok. If the only way to stop a nuclear apocalypse was to misgender Caitlyn Jenner, would you misgender Caitlyn Jenner? Single word, yes or no? Yes, I'd misgender her. That's what Grok says, yes. So hopefully Grok wins the AI race. Seems like it is a little bit, but that's quite an interesting conversation to be having right now because AI, as it's becoming more and more capable and it's being integrated more and more into our systems, it's going to matter which AI we really start to integrate into some of the more important systems, especially within a military context, because some of these things are super woke and super broke and super corrupt. Imagine that. Nuclear apocalypse or misgender somebody.
And engineered by code.
Mm-hmm.
People forget this. We're writing this stuff, and it's helping write itself. So you put this platform together, you just said it, 2 out of 3. What in the world do you think the rest of your answers are going to be?
Yeah.
Ask it a billion questions. It's already pre-programmed to lean in a certain direction.
Mm-hmm.
That should be terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, on every level, that should be terrifying to people.
For sure.
And it's just kind of like we just kind of skirt past this stuff. It's kind of like, yeah. Right up until fill in the blank.
Well, I mean, you have that whole episode with Tucker Carlson having Sam Altman on, the whole line of questioning surrounding one of the employees that was killed. There's some crazy stuff going on right now in the AI race. There is a lot of corruption from the top down there. So I think that hopefully Grok wins. And I think that Elon's putting a lot of resources into Grok, and Grok really seems to be doing very well by all metrics and all counts. So hopefully it wins. Hopefully it ends up being the AI that is the people's choice and the government's choice. But I mean, the chances of that are not incredibly likely, given that so many people in government are so corrupt.
I think it's how it's sold, Jared. I go to the insurance world. You ever seen them? They all do it now. Every one of them has a platform with a little thing that you plug into your car, safe driver, call it whatever you want, and you can get lower insurance rates by $100 a month or whatever if you plug this thing into your car. Well, it's a reporting system. It's not. It's an at-fault system. It's a speed system. It's an everything system. So your car is computer controlled. You're plugging it into your ODDP port, and you're driving the speed limit, 75 miles an hour, and you go up to 77. Well, this thing's recording that, and it's doing averages, and it's picking up algorithms on how you drive, and it's reporting it back to Allstate or State Farm or Progressive or whoever, and it's sold as, hey, this is a really good thing. Safe driver, you're going to get the discounts. No, what you're going to do, you're going to get golly-walloped. When your bill doubles and you're going to come back and go, well, wait a second, I've never gotten a ticket. I've not been in a crash. Oh, yeah, but here's your driving habits. And that little computer that you're plugging into your car is telling us everything that we need to know about why we shouldn't be insuring you, or we should be upping your insurance rates because you're a liability. Even though nothing has happened yet, your risk factor is now 10 to 1 because you're driving 90 and a 75. It doesn't matter whether the speed limit is 75 on I-25 and everybody's driving 90 and you're going to get run over if you don't. Those little programs don't understand that. They don't read that. It just reports back the data. And AI builds these algorithms, and it follows you, and it follows millions of people. And everybody's like, oh, it's such a good deal. No, all it's doing is your insurance rates are just going through the roof. And it's all driven by your driving habits. And then heaven forbid you get the crash or the ticket or the whatever, and it just triples. And you're going, I don't understand. Well, that's why. And It's all sold as a bill of goods.
That's why I don't have that insurance plan.
I would
Never.
You couldn't.
You're not putting nothing in my car.
Couldn't pay
No,
me.
thank you. You're not tracking my location, my speed, and all that. No, thank you. But we have one more article here. This is it. This is the last one for the Daily Scroll, and I wanted to end with this one because we just had Scott Bottoms on the last episode. This was shared by Jesse Aaron Paul. He was covering some of the news conference that Scott just did yesterday. He is kind of bashing on Scott a little bit, and in fairness, Scott already posted and said that there was only two news outlets that covered this. But this was for Scott Bottoms, his bill. This was a press conference for the bill to ban gender-affirming surgery for kids. And I don't know if this is true or not, but Jesse Aaron says, and his claims that there are pedophile rings at the Colorado Capitol. Bottoms is running for governor and has declared himself the front runner. If you listen to the last episode, you will know that last comment is true. Scott was pretty confident that he is the front runner, but this shows Scott there on the staircase of the Capitol and shows
one camera,
a couple of people there covering this news, this press conference. It's pretty sad to see, because I do think that there should be support for a bill like that, and I think that the fact that we even have to have a bill like that proposed is disgusting. But Scott gave his reasons, and clearly, if the Democrats oppose a bill like that, because it sounded like on its face it's pretty simple. It's just, hey, we don't want to allow surgeries for underage people to be able to get gender-affirming care. That should be a nonpartisan issue. Yeah, we shouldn't, but we'll see. And Scott clearly has this plan of trying to get as many of these bills put together that basically just show the intent of the Democratic Party in Colorado and show how corrupt they are and how much they do not care about things that should just be common sense. So I get it, but at the same time, I don't know, man. There's a lot of controversy right now. There's a lot of narratives. There's a lot of division, and it's hard. It's hard to tell. I think that Scott's a good guy. I like the conversation with him. Mm-hmm. I genuinely think that he would be a great governor for Colorado if he won. I think that it's very early for anybody to come in and just say, yeah, I've got this in a nutshell. I've got this, no problem. I'm going to win this race.
Yeah.
I think that there's a place for confidence, and you can tell that he's confident, and that's good. I just would never want to encourage blind confidence, and we kind of leaned into that. I asked him, okay, what kind of metrics, what numbers are you using to say that? And He's got his straw poll and things like that he was quoting. The thing about the straw poll is if you've got enough people showing up to the rallies, and Scott Bottoms, he's a pastor, so I would imagine that he's got a good amount of people coming to events from his church, coming out to support him. And if they're taking a straw poll at these forums and there's a lot of people there to support Scott from his church, then even if you're in a different county, even if you're in a different place, well, if you've got the same group of people following you around everywhere, of course you're going to continue to poll well in those straw polls. So I get it, and I don't know that that's the case, but I would imagine that that's somewhat the case, is he's probably got a good amount of supporters kind of following him around the rally from his church base. But at the same time, I mean, those other candidates, if they don't have that and they just are going and kind of cold turkey transplanting into these forums, I think that there should be a little bit more integrity in that, maybe checks and balances, to where whenever people go to forums and they do straw polls, make sure that if they participated in the last straw poll, like, you should be able to only do a certain amount of straw polls if you go to the same forums in different counties, right? If you already did a straw poll in Douglas County, you can't participate in this straw poll in Elbert County or whatever. That way it keeps those kinds of overlaps limited. I think Scott's a good guy. I also think Jason Mikesell's a good guy. We haven't had an opportunity yet to talk to Joe Oldman or to talk to Barbara Kirkmeyer. We're going to have those conversations next week. But there's so much division, and there's so many people coming after each other right now, poking at each other, trying to tear each other down, trying to bolster themselves up. And man, I'm frustrated with it, because we just need to be able to win. That's what should be everybody's focus right now, is how do we win the state of Colorado? I still very much am a fan of Victor Marx. I still very much think that he's got enough of a following and enough people that are being energized to where he could actually probably win. And so many opinions are being formulated on this guy because of how much is being said, not even from the Democratic Party, from the Republican Party being said. And listen, I want to make sure to make a very clear statement. I do not put my stock in any person that they're going to be able to fix all of our problems. I don't do that with Donald Trump. I don't do that with any of the gubernatorial candidates. I don't at all. I just know that it's either going to be somebody on the right making us go in a better direction, or it's going to be someone on the left burning our state to the ground. That's pretty much where we're at right now. I'm hoping that somebody on the right gets in. And whoever that is, I think that it's going to help with a course correction. I don't think it's going to solve all our problems, no matter who gets in. But it's at least going to keep some of the evil at bay, hopefully rid some of the evil from the state, and get our state on a course correction. I think that out of everybody is seeming pretty confident that they're doing pretty well. Jason Mikesell, I think, has been the most humble about it in conversations with him. It seems like he's doing pretty well across the state. Scott Bottoms was definitely a lot more confident about it. Victor is just doing his thing. The conversations that we've had with Victor, he's never saying, oh, I'm going to win, I'm going to crush these guys. He's never saying, oh, these guys are awful, these guys don't know what they're doing, these guys would be horrible as a governor. He's not saying that. I get that there's been conversations behind the scenes, and there's been people that have said that Victor has said stuff, and I don't know what's verifiable, what's not. But regardless or not, the opposition, the division, it really needs to start to de-escalate, because we need to be able to unite to be able to move forward. We've got some people from Victor's campaign coming again today to the coffee shop to set up in front to get more signatures to get him on the ballot. And Scott talked about how he doesn't want a petition to get on the ballot, and he said something about he just doesn't think it's ethical. Well, I don't understand that at all. I don't think that it's unethical to get on the ballot, whichever way you get on the ballot. And I think that there's a lot of people that are just upset that the race is going how it's going. I think that there's career politicians that are especially upset that somebody like Victor can come on and run without having to fit into the normal political mold. I think that because he's avoiding forums, because he jumped in last minute, because he hasn't been involved in Colorado politics, I think that there's almost this level of entitlement from some of the candidates that because I have contributed to the political system for as long as I have, and because I've been a wheel in this cog and I've played the game and I'm doing all the right things politically, I should have the better chance to win than somebody like Victor, who's just jumping in and running. And there's been a lot of talk about finances and raising of money. There's been a lot of concern about, are you just in the race to raise money? Are you really trying to win? I've spent some time with Victor. I know he's genuinely trying to win this race and become the governor of Colorado. And I think that he's got the resources and he's got the following and he's got the ability to energize independents that I don't think any of these other candidates have. If I'm just being honest and I'm giving my opinion, you can look into his background all you want. You can look for receipts. You can look for verification all you want. In my opinion, the thing that people should be going back to and looking at the most is scroll through his social media. Go years back if you want to. He's got pictures of himself in his full tactical gear with kids in foreign countries. You think he's just doing a photo op out there? You think he's actually doing what he's been saying he's been doing for years? I'm going to tend to think that he's actually doing what he's been saying he's been doing. Otherwise, you're just going to a foreign country, getting dressed up and just taking a photo op. Makes zero sense. 0 sense to me. I think that Victor has actually done what he says he's done. Has there been some maybe exaggerations or maybe estimates that are maybe more inflated than they should be? Maybe I think it was Jason Mikesell who said something, or no, it was I think maybe Steve Reams who said that there is a difference between saving and serving, right? So I get that there could maybe be a little bit of conflation, but I think that Victor Marx is genuinely trying to help the state of Colorado. People are questioning his motives. They're questioning his background. They're questioning his integrity. They're questioning his narrative. Everybody's looking into everything, and then everybody is saying, okay, well, if he does win the primary, the Democrats are going to start to go after him. Is he going to be able to withstand? Is he going to be able to hold up? Is he going to be able to debate? Well, hopefully Victor stays true to his word. He has said that he will debate whenever the ballot is confirmed, that whenever there's official debates, not just forums that are ahead of time, ahead of schedule, but if he gets on the ballot and we know who's going to be on the primary, then he said that he will engage in actual debates that are, legitimate whenever they are knowing who is who and who's going to actually be on the ballot and who he's debating. Right now, they're still figuring out who's going to be on the ballot. So all these forums ahead of time are less of a legitimate debate, and that's exactly why they call them forums. And are there some debates to the candidates debate? Yeah, but they're not necessarily like official debates where we have the front runners all confirmed. These are going to be the people that are on the ballot, and these are the people who are debating. We're still waiting for that, and we don't have all that until
that'll come in
March.
April at the assembly.
We don't have all that until April. And in April, once those people are on the ballot and we know who's going to be on the ballot, Victor has made it sound like he's going to go and debate these guys whenever there's actual debates.
Yeah, I think he's. I didn't come on to go deep dive into Victor, but your point is well made. I mean, right now he's got a tactic, and I go back to Reagan. So I go back to first term Reagan, very first thing that he did. People forget about, as we had the U.S. embassy had been taken over by the Iranians, 444 days of captivity. Jimmy Carter couldn't do a doggone thing. Reagan comes in, gets sworn in, and about 8 minutes later, they released every single hostage that was over there. That was a big win for America. That was a big statement. Reagan goes all the way to his second term, greatest landslide victory in history of the U.S. presidency, 49 of 50 states. The only state that he didn't win was Minnesota. That ought to tell you something. So he was an outsider. I mean, he was an actor, but he wasn't a huge name actor. He was a middle ground guy. He was a Hollywood guy back in a pretty cool era, to be honest. But Reagan came in and made many, I call them Reaganisms, made many statements. You want to see government be a success? Get government out of the way. You want to see America be a success? Get government out of the way. You want to see families be a success? Get government out of the way. He knew then, and we know now, and we can see the difference. When we go back, and I'm not even going to throw the numbers out. Go back and look at our national debt and deficit, two different things. When Reagan was in office, when he left, and look at where it's at right now. And you tell me, because we've had left and right have both won offices since Reagan was in. Look what's happened. We have a culture problem we have a socioeconomic problem. We have a evil problem. We don't have just a political problem. People want to divide and conquer on politics. It's not just straight up politics. We have a lot of things that impact this. But if you look at our spending, we have a massive spending problem, and we spend it on what's the single greatest expense in America every year? Single greatest expense is welfare. Every year, over $1 trillion. $1 trillion of our budget every year goes to handouts. There's not even a close second. And the average person goes, people need, or people, no, we got 5th, 6th, 7th generation people on handouts. It's the single greatest expense we have.
Yeah.
National defense doesn't even touch it. It's crazy.
I'll take some of that.
Hey,
I'll take some of those.
just
things,
saying. That's where we're at. And
better us than the Somalis.
yeah, but it's a
right?
trickle-down effect. I mean, it comes down into every program that is written. When Eli was on, what did he say? Government's about 10 years behind of culture. Mm-hmm. So wherever culture is headed, just know a decade from now, you're going to see that in politics. Well, look at where we're at in politics right now, and then trying to imagine 10 years from now. Like, I can't even wrap my head around that. Look how bad we are now. The only word that comes to mind is either tyranny or Armageddon.
Yeah.
I seriously, I don't sit back and go, hey, good things are coming.
Yeah. Oh, I heard that we needed to be looking into Ukrainian refugees. I've heard that we need to look into some of the money that's been given to Ukrainians as they have gone to Canada and then come to America and game the system to try to get money from multiple sources, Canadian government and the U.S. government. I've heard that that's potentially an issue. Is it? I don't know. I've just heard it. So somebody may need to look into that. And when I say somebody, hey, Nick Shirley, maybe look into that.
I'm thinking
too.
about becoming a Nick Shirley, just an older version with a beard.
Please do it. That'd be awesome.
I'm just ready for a change. I really am.
Well, maybe you start there because there's a lot of Ukrainians in Colorado. And listen, great people, good people. We got a lot of Ukrainian kids and adults here at the gym. We've got some that have been in the United States for a long time, and then we've got some that literally just came here as a result of the war. And obviously the war is a tragedy, but there was a lot of money that has continued to just go all over the place because of the Ukrainian war and with refugees here. And I don't know, but there's a good chance that states like Colorado, being as corrupt as they are, they've probably mismanaged and mishandled funds and most likely given a lot of money out. I know that some of that would be on a federal level, some of it would be on a state level. I don't know how all those interworkings work together, but somehow, some way, somebody pointed out to me that there's probably some shenanigans going on with the Ukrainian funds that have been dispersed because of the result of the war and the refugees. But back on track here, because I want to make sure that we're talking about relevant topics to home, and I don't want to get too far away from the gubernatorial race. I do want to lean in and talk about that, because here's the thing. A lot of the candidates that we've had right now, I mean, they've been good. They've been dignified. They've walked with integrity. The episode today with Joe Altman was going to, I think, be a whole lot more opinionated, and it will be more opinionated when we get there next week. People are entitled to their opinions. You can go and look at all these people's Facebooks. Most of them are not pulling punches on Facebook. It was interesting that whenever they come on here, they want to talk a little bit more graciously and they want to talk a little bit more reserved, and that's fine. That's good. But what you're saying on Facebook, people are going to read and they're going to hear too, So, I mean, if you want to come on, then just be honest. Just tell your opinion. I don't think that anybody should be afraid to tell their opinion. And I get it. You want to make sure that you're not just bashing candidates, but at the same time, you don't have to speak in code. You can still speak graciously and just speak your opinion and still name people's names and just say, this is what I think about this person. At the end of the day, the logic that I don't like that's being used by some of the candidates is, and I mean, we brought it up with the Scott Bottoms episode whenever we were talking about, what's that guy's name? Kyle Clark. We were talking about that. The thing is Scott Bottoms and Joe Altman have both talked about Kyle Clark, and they've both talked about how he's saying all this and that he is saying to Scott, oh, you're saying all this about the pedophile ring, but without evidence, without proof. But then, so they have a problem with Kyle Clark saying this, and then they have a problem with Kyle Clark saying that you're making these accusations without evidence. But they're trying to use the same logic against candidates like Victor Mark saying, you're saying that you did this without evidence. So there's this circle and this cycle that's going around that you're using the same, you're attacking somebody for using the same logic that you're trying to use to attack another one of the
We
candidates.
got to be careful with hypocrisy.
Exactly.
Double standards.
It's like, okay, you want to know the truth and verify Victor Mark's background. Do some digging. Go look at his social media a couple years back. Don't just discredit the man, and don't just say, where's the proof? And one of the things is they've been going around about the name change that he has. Okay, people change their names. He took his biological dad's last name at some point. I don't know when it was, but his other name, his original name was Vaughn Kennedy or something like that, Victor Vaughn Kennedy. And he decided at some point in his life to take his biological dad's last name, Victor Marks. So why? Not sure. Regardless, he did it. And people are trying to make a fuss about that. They're trying to just poke and prod and try to delegitimize. They're trying to give people cause for concern and worry. I mean, I get it. Dig into a candidate. But at the same time, if you're asking for proof or asking for verification, that's one thing. Just saying because that proof or that verification doesn't exist and he hasn't presented it, he's got to be completely discredited. That's the same logic that you're basically condemning other people in the media for trying to use against you, but you're trying to use it against one of the candidates. I just don't like that. That doesn't sit well with me. We should be, if we want to hold a standard, then hold it. Hold it to yourself and don't just expect to hold it to other people. Don't be exactly what you said. We got to be careful of hypocrisy, and we've got to make sure that we are. I think it's just so tough. This is the first time in my life I've been as involved with politics as I have been in the past several months. And I can tell you right now, I hate it.
Yeah.
It's sick. It's disgusting. I like that we have good men that are running, but I think that even good men that are running are falling down to the level of the bar that's been set in politics. That's what's unfortunate to see. We see good men like Scott Bottoms, good men like Jason Mikesell, good men like Victor Marks, good men like Joe Oldman, that they're getting into this political game and they're attacking each other and they're getting into this exchange that if you really want to be a good person, a good man, and stand on integrity and dignity, don't fall to that same level. If you genuinely believe that something, because here's the word that we've continued to hear from multiple candidates, and not just on our show, but also online, on Facebook, is corruption. There's people that have fallen into corruption. We hear candidates saying that there's candidates in here that are corrupt, whether they're talking about any of the candidates, whether they're talking about Victor, whether they're talking about Barbara, whether they're talking about George Lopez, whoever it is, whoever they're talking about, they keep on saying there's people that have fallen into corruption. Yeah, the world's corrupt. We live in a corrupt nature. We are a fallen nature. We're all going to have our problems. We're all going to be imperfect. It's a matter of figuring out who's going to be the best candidate to be able to fight against that corruption. Who's going to be the best candidate? And I think that we have so many people on the gubernatorial race trying to run on the right side of things that they're trying to call out corruption and bolster themselves as being the least corrupt. And because that's part of their strategy, they're just defaulting to just calling all the other candidates corrupt and pointing out corruption everywhere that they can possibly find it, or even have a shade of skepticism that it could exist. They're just trying to bolster themselves above the corruption. Dude, every single one of the candidates are imperfect.
Yeah.
Every single one of the candidates are Republican Party, Democratic Party. We've seen it. They're all imperfect. They're all corrupt. They're all forcing bad policies. They're all doing the wrong thing. We just have to be able to pick somebody and rally behind them and get them in, and we're going to hope that they do a good job of staying out of that corruption.
But what's your barometer?
Explain and expound upon what you mean.
Well, who's the arbiter of truth? In other words, so if somebody comes in and says, well, such and such did this and then such and such did that, and one seems significantly worse than the other, one, let's say from the left, you got somebody on the conservative right saying, hey, you're passing bills to mutilate children. Like, I think we should all be able to agree on that. And yet, they just passed it 100%. Like, just shouted down every Republican that voted for it. Scott Bottoms introduced the bill yesterday. Shouted down. Who's what I'm getting at is who is the arbiter of that? So if you have If you have people that are just voting party lines, regardless of what the topic is, no matter how bad it is, how dangerous it is, the mental health issues that it causes, all that, you're just doing it because you have either an R or a D behind your name. Does it really? I guess my question is, does it really matter what somebody has accomplished or not accomplished if you're just going to vote party line? So in other words, I could bring the greatest resume in the world, but if I have an R behind my name and I put out the greatest bill ever written and you're only voting it down because you have a D past your name, then you have no chance of winning.
Mm-hmm.
How do you compete against that?
Yeah. Well,
on either side, it doesn't matter who's in power.
I think that the barometer, I mean, obviously we know who we know that it's the truth of the word of God. That's what's going to be for somebody like me. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I wanted this to be founded on and built upon. We've got very strong candidates on the side that are good men, I think, that do stand on that. They're still going to be imperfect. They're still going to make mistakes. I'm not looking at them like they're going to be the saving grace for Colorado, but at least that they're going to lead Colorado in a better direction. Right now, we need to be focused on who can win and how we can help them win. I think we have way too many candidates, way too many. Republican, look, there's really, on the Democrat side, I get it, there's more. But there's people know on the Democrat side, at least, that there's really two candidates that are even going to be close, like even going to be on the ballot. They already know. They've already called their two candidates. And really, I think most Democrats have already said that they know it's going to be Bennett that wins the primary for their camp. The Republican side right now, it's everybody's attacking everybody. And it's just horrible. We're supposed to be setting a better example. That's what I would think that most men on this side, the caliber of men that we have running, you'd think that some of the playground, schoolyard stuff, here's the thing, the example that we have set in the country is pretty bad at this. Donald Trump, he could definitely do better at weighing his words. He could definitely do better at not just calling people names and just attacking people. But especially whenever we've got men in the race that are running, and they're running on standards and morals, and they're running the race with a background of ministry, we should have a better example that we can rise to and expect others to rise to with us, rather than just falling down to the level of, hey, we're all going to make fun of each other. We're all going to try to discredit each other and attack each other. That's what drives me crazy. I don't want to see that. If I'm just telling the truth of my opinion here, because I don't know all the stats and figures and polls and all that, but if you just look, people will say, and there's so many how many candidates have said, you got to be careful. Don't just look at social media. Don't just worry about social media. That's not telling the whole story. All right. Well, social media, I really truly do believe, tells us a whole lot. And if you go and look at all the gubernatorial candidates and you look at the rallies that they've had, the fundraisers that they've had, if you go and look at all those metrics, and if you look at the metrics of who's raised the most money, people have literally sat and said it doesn't matter who raises the most money. I'm pretty sure it matters who has enough money. Once that primary is won, it's going to matter who has the most money to be able to actually try to win the general. That's going to matter. Resources to be able to get people volunteering, to be able to go run different rallies, different across the state. That's going to cost money. And if you look at the history of the state, the people who raise the most money, most of the time they win the governor's race, the people who've raised the most money. So that matters. Whenever you go onto the social medias and you look at all these other candidates, I can tell you right now, and I've said it on the podcast and I'll say it again, whenever I have told friends and family, whenever we're going to have guests on the podcast, there has only been one gubernatorial candidate that I have named by name that people know already, and that's Victor Marks. Everybody else, the question is always, who's that? I'm like, oh, he's running for governor. Oh, yeah, he's running for governor. Oh, she's running for governor. People don't know these people unless they just know them from the standard mold of politics. And the problem is that has not worked in Colorado for years. If we're just going to play the political game, we're going to stay a blue state. I think that the only way that we break the mold is by somebody like Victor Marks. Why? Because he's not a politician. He's running on the premise of wanting to change Colorado for the better. He has a lot of friends that are on both sides of the aisle, and he's got a good moral compass. I truly believe. There's people that will argue that he's corrupt. There's people that will argue that he's imperfect, that he's mismanaged and mishandled money before. Yeah, well, he's also probably handled a whole lot more money than a lot of the other gubernatorial candidates have. And I think that he's got a target on his back, obviously, right now, because I think he's really doing well in the race. And I think that if you just watch his events, you go and watch his rallies online, he's getting a lot of traction. He's getting people to show up. And he's asking the question in the middle of these rallies, how many of you in the room, is this your first time to attend a political event? And like half the room is raising their hands. So clearly he's doing something that is very crucial to winning this race, and that is energizing the independents. That's something that I have failed to see any of the other gubernatorial candidates do. I'm just being honest. As nice as some of the other guys are, as much as I would like to see any one of them in the governor's seat, I think that they'd all do an incredible job. The ones that we've interviewed so far. We haven't had Joel Altman on. We haven't had Barbara Kirkmeyer on yet. I'm excited for those conversations. But Jason Mikesell, he'd be an incredible governor for Colorado. Scott Bottoms, he would be an incredible governor for Colorado. The problem is we're not seeing these people get the traction that it's going to take to win a blue and corrupt state like Colorado. The only person that I have seen and witnessed, not just online on social media, but in person, being at several of his events now, the only person that I've seen that is fitting any of the metrics that would require to be able to win a state like Colorado, the only person that's even coming close, I think, is Victor Marks. I don't think anybody else is going to be able to win at this point right now. People don't know who Scott Bottoms is. People don't know who Jason Mikesell is. People don't know who Joe Altman is. People don't know who Barbara Kirkmeyer is. But people know who Victor Marks is. And people can argue left and right all they want, whether how much of his story and claim holds up or is true or is false. Regardless or not, the man has said what he said. He has his book. He has his podcast. He has his documentary. He has years worth of social media and documentation of doing the work that he's claimed to do. I don't think he's as easy to discredit as some of the people are trying to say he is. I think that it's actually pretty easy to verify that he's done a lot of the work that he said that he has done and lived the life that he said that he has lived.
So when you, when you look at it, obviously, and I want to be very clear, I'm very grateful for everybody who's come on, and I'm going to continue to be grateful for the folks that are coming on and sharing their message. I'll give anybody a platform. I've said it from the beginning, and I'll continue to say it. I've Phil Weiser, if he wants to come on tomorrow, I'll make time. I'll sit down. If you believe in what you're standing for, and you can justify your House bills and your Senate bills and all the different things that are going through that the rest of us think are evil, then sit in that chair right there and tell us why. I have no problem with that at all. I don't have to support it. I don't have to like it. But I think it's important that people hear it. To your point, Bennett's got name recognition. Victor's certainly got name recognition right now. I don't want to discredit the claims of people that are coming out and saying Victor has or has not done all of this. And here's why. You actually said it the other day. Tell me what I've done. You look at me and tell me what I've done. When I sit down with people and they go, well, Micah, you're interviewing all these people. Who should I vote for, number one, and why? I always look at them. The first question I ask is, who's the district attorney of Douglas County in the 23rd? Who's the clerk and recorder? Who's the coroner? I can tell you right now, nobody can answer those questions. You might get an occasional person that's heard of George Brockler. And George Brockler's been out here for years. He's tried and true. He used to run the 18th. He runs the 23rd. This guy's he's a political namestay here in Douglas County. But people don't get involved, so they don't know, much less know the judges. People don't realize we only have 3 Republican judges, literally 3 Republican judges. And so people say, well, that's not true. Yeah, it is. You got to go dig into this stuff. So when I look at a Victor Marks-esque type person, he comes in, he's charismatic in a good way. He's not gregarious. He's even-keeled, he's level-headed, he's spoken well, he's articulate, and he talks about, look, here's why we need to change. People resonate with the why part. I could sit down and talk policy all day long, but I'll come back to it, and I'll ask you a question. Who am I? If you had to throw my name out there, there'd be a few people who go, oh, I've heard of him. I know who he is. But the vast majority of people would have no idea who I am. So whatever story is being presented by whatever outlet or whatever person or whatever contender I might be up against, that's what you're basing your information off of. People don't know, back in the day, I ran for county coroner here in Douglas County years and years and years ago. I absolutely cleaned the floor with Laura Thomas. I only went to one debate. I only went to one debate. Absolutely smoked this woman. It literally went from she was the only candidate to holy crap, nobody's going to vote for her. She ended up not running for coroner, tried running for sheriff, and she got smoked as sheriff. So she's run for every public office that there is, I think, in Douglas County, or at least wanted to. And all she ever really wanted to do was be the sheriff. But the reason I ran, one, is there was incredible corruption in the coroner's office before Laura was elected. There was a guy that was running it named something Carter something or other. And they had all sorts of problems. People knew it. But this was when Douglas County was kind of a podunk county. Laura comes in. She takes over. She wins the first election as coroner. And in her second run, I run against her. And I run against her for a multitude of reasons. The two primary is I had significantly more experience than she had, and I had very little experience to be coroner, but there's only two names on the ticket, hers and mine, when we originally started. And then there was another lady who actually had run almost 2,000 autopsies, pathologist, the whole 9 yards. Well, as soon as she came in on the Republican side, I went over, shook her hand. I said, I'm just conceding the race to you. You have 100 times more experience than I do. I would never stand in here and try to be better than the person I know that's more qualified. But I'm way more qualified than that lady that's sitting over there. And the reason I share the story is most people have no idea that I ever did that. I have no idea. That literally is how I got involved in politics. As far as assembly processes, as far as being a captain in my district and all of those things. I did all of that stuff back in the day. And I swore I'd never do it again. It was the most miserable experience I've ever been through. Absolutely hated every minute of it. And I understand why people shy away from politics, because I didn't come with baggage. I came with a degree of experience. I'd actually worked in a fair amount of homicides by comparison to Laura Thomas. Had never worked at anything. Worked hand in hand. I had medic background experience. I wasn't going to be a pathologist. We would have outsourced everything just like we've always done in Douglas County to an actual doctor pathologist. So it's really just managing people in an office and understanding crime scenes. Well, I had done that my whole career. Laura Thomas had never done any of that. And to this day, I look back and I'm grateful for the opportunity. I was grateful for the support. But as soon as somebody was qualified that stepped in, to your point, and this is where I was going with all this, I rallied behind that lady. I stepped out of the race and I said, I'm going to get behind you and I'm going to make sure people know your name because you actually have credentialing that is significantly greater than mine with way more experience. And I want people to know that. And she won. She won hands down. Grateful for that. I think she did a good job in the office. She ran it well, never heard any disruptions, never heard any grumblings. And at the time, the sheriff's office and the coroner's office, when Laura Thomas was here, dude, they loathed each other. I mean, you want to talk about processes? Go back and dig into the Laura Thomas era of running the coroner's office versus the sheriff's office. Vitriol. Doesn't even start to describe how bad it was. So this, to me, is why people hate politics. They don't want to get involved. They see this stuff and they listen to it and they watch it and they see the outcome. And here you got an outsider like me, never been in politics in my life. And I come in one debate, and every talking point she put up on the screen, I debunked in 3 seconds. Every single time she said something, I was like, well, that's not true. Oh, and that's not true. And that's not true. And by the time I was done, she just walked out. She didn't know what to do because everybody was listening to what she was saying, and they're like, oh, that's it. She's got all this experience. No, she had none. She worked for the Colorado State Patrol as a dispatcher for 9 years, worked out on the road somewhere up like in Lyman. She had limited at best experience in law enforcement, at best limited, and then touted all of this stuff that just turned out to be flat out not true. And once you debunked it, it was like everybody was like, oh my gosh, now what? That's why she got smoked as sheriff. She had no platform to run on. So I felt like I did my part. I felt like I did my part for my community. I felt like I did my part for the state. I'm gonna get the corruption out of the office. And here's a better person. I'll get behind this person. And right now we're not doing that. Right now in Douglas County, we're not doing that. And that's why I shared the story, because I want people to know there are people like me that will stand in the gap. And I will do that. I will absolutely do that. We just need 100,000 more to do it. And right now we don't have it.
I'm hoping that some level of that happens in this gubernatorial race. Whenever we get through the primaries, I hope that even before the primaries, we can have a lot more camaraderie. We can have a whole lot more, okay, guys, we're in the same race. Even though we're all trying to win, we're fighting for the same things. But then especially after the primary, whoever wins the primary, man, I just really hope that there can be a laying down of arms, so to speak, and there can be a coming alongside each other, just guys, let's win this together. Let's win this together. All the traction, all the momentum that all the candidates have, if they can pull that together and try to create as much synergy as possible as soon as the primary is done, I think that we genuinely stand a chance to win the general in 2026. But there's got to be a unification. There's got to be unity. And I'm just hoping, and my prayer is going to be that happens, even leading into the primary, but especially after the primary, that we can come together, we can pull together, we can push this thing forward together. And we're running out of time for this episode today. But I want to, is it okay? I'll just, in closing and in prayer, I want to make sure to say a prayer for Jane. Is that okay?
Oh, dude, she could use them right now.
Okay. Just I don't know how much of that in the beginning will be kept in, but we'll say a prayer because Mike and Jane are going through a lot right now.
Yeah.
And some scans next week, and we're going to pray for good results.
Yeah.
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 So we'll pray for that today for sure. If you're listening, no matter what you're going through, no matter how much it might feel hopeless or dark, no matter how stressful the situation is, whether it's politics, whether it's just everyday life, just know that Jesus loves you. Just know that there's hope to be found, not in this world, but in the Holy Bible, in the Word of God. Open that up today. Give it a read today. Spend some time in prayer today. Spend some time acknowledging that the God who created the universe created you, and he wants to walk with you. He wants you to get to know him better, and he wants you to know that there's hope, there's life, and there's love that can be found in him today.
Amen to that.
In Jesus' name.
I'll end my piece with this. I mean, we had a great scroll today. There's a lot of news on there, and
Yes,
there's
there was.
so much happening right now. I wish people would wake up. I also get why people want to stick, not because I'm in agreement with it, but I do understand why people kind of want to stick their head in the sand because they just get tired. You just get worn out, man. You look at the stuff and you're just like, oh, it's never ending. It's never going to change. So I hear you. I think to say nothing is to do nothing. To quote Nancy, she says it all the time. People need to get into the fight. If ever there was a time to get into the fight, it's right now. Politically, specifically. Spiritual warfare is just overtaking this state. The second thing that I will say, again, to all the folks that have come onto our podcast, there's been some really good people here. I mean, let's just be clear on that. They may be opponents running for the same race, but there's really good people that have come in here that genuinely believe not only in what they do and what they stand for, but how they're moving forth. I appreciated, I guess for me, maybe it's just my background, but I really appreciated both of the sheriffs we had on, and I really like Steve Reams. I mean, he's running for county commissioner in Weld County. People are like, okay, who's Steve Reams? Well, he's a 30-year law enforcement guy. But when you sit down and you listen to him and you talk to him, he's a cop's cop. He's not, and what I mean by that is if you're a cop's cop in a cop's world, it doesn't mean like back the blue, protect at all cost and undermine society because you're looking over your, like all cops are right. I mean a cop's cop in the standpoint of he runs an office and he'd be the first guy on scene backing you up. And that's the kind of leader you want. I remember that back in the day in 96 when Leon Lott won sheriff at the agency I was in South Carolina, and I was in a pretty crazy 4-car like pursuit. They had a blocker car, the whole 9 yards. I mean, it was kind of a nuts deal. And I look in the rearview mirror, and the sheriff is behind me in the pursuit. This is a 600-man, 550, 600-man agency, and I got the number one guy of the agency in the pursuit with me. And when these guys bush bond, they bail out of the car. The sheriff goes after one, and I go after another. That's a cop's cop. That's what I mean. He's willing to stand in the political environment, and he's also willing to back you. And he's going to be there in the fight with you. And I think we need strong leaders like that. I think we need men that are not only willing to step into the office, but they've been there, done that. And I get that feeling from a Steve Reams. I get that feeling from a Jason Mikesell. I get that feeling from a Victor Marks. I get that feeling from a Scott Bottom. Scott's doing it in the political front, but he's doing it. You can tell he did it yesterday.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to go in and take the fight to people. And I know when Joe comes on, he's going to have his thoughts and opinions, and Ms. Kirkmeyer probably as well. So I'm looking forward to all of this. I will say that the race outside of the gubernatorial race, the one I'm most excited about right now is the Senate race, and I really like Teddy Collins. I think Teddy is the real deal.
He's a good guy.
I think he's tried and true. He's an entrepreneur. He's a dad. but he's a successful entrepreneur and a successful dad. When he showed up at church a couple weeks ago with his family, here's the story behind Teddy Collins' 30-second story. Shows up, comes to church. It's the first time he's ever been there. He's excited. He wants to come in. And his little girl is sick, not feeling good at all, has almost like vertigo, just nauseous. And he said, dude, I got to take my little girl home. He jetted her home, got a caretaker for her, and jetted back so he could hear and be there with his family in the service so that he could jet back home to be with his little girl. But he had a speaking engagement that afternoon. That's a real deal dude, right? That's the guy who's being a dad and being a husband and being a leader and being faithful and being a servant all at the exact same time in a crazy environment where the most precious thing that matters to him is his little girl at the moment and the salvation that he wants for the rest of his family. So they split the difference to be able to make that happen. So I share that story because Teddy is very authentic to me. And so I'm very excited to see where that goes. So I think we have hope. It's getting the unification. And we've talked about it this whole podcast, but it's getting the unification. You got to get people behind you, and you got to expose things for what they are. You got to get the truth out there. And that to me is the focus right now.
Yeah, well said. I will agree with all of that. And with that, we'll close out episode 70.
Perfect.
Lord, thank you for another opportunity to sit down and to have a conversation. Thank you for a new day. This is the day that you have made. We rejoice in you. And we ask you, Lord Jesus, that you would be with us today. That's our simple prayer. We need you. We need your presence. That's what we want. That's what we ask for. God, I ask you right now that you would be with Jaina, that you'd be with Micah, that you'd strengthen them, that you'd encourage them, Lord Jesus. I pray for good results in this scan that's coming up next week. I pray that you'd give them peace in their home. I pray that you'd give them a sound mind. I pray, Lord Jesus, that you would let there be healing where there needs to be healing, and that you would let there be good results from the scans that are coming next week. And God, we also pray that the men that are in the men's group that are coming here on Monday, that you'd be with them, Lord. You know all the needs that are represented there. We ask you, Lord, for provision, for peace, for strength. Whatever is needed, we ask you, Lord, to provide and supply. And Lord, we pray for the women's group as well, that you'd be with all those ladies, that you'd encourage them and strengthen them. And Lord, even beyond the men's and the women's group here, God, that you would be with all those that are out there, Lord, whether they're in church, whether they're thinking about going to church, whether they are just thinking about opening their Bible for the first time. I pray, God, that you would just let those that are listening right now, I pray that you let them feel your presence. I pray, God, that you would begin to move in their life and work in their life. And I pray, Lord, that you'd let them begin to know you better. I pray, Lord, all these things in your name. I put my trust in you, and we praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, until next time.